Hey everyone, welcome to GardenFork, another one of our beginner beekeeping videos. We're not in the bee yard, we're actually up near my garage, but I wanted to talk about winterizing your hive, and the most important thing, I think, is to insulate the top of the hive and to reduce condensation in the hive. Wet bees are dead bees, especially in winter. Condensation happens because you've got a cold exterior and you've got warm bees on the inside. There's moisture that comes up from the bees and hits the top of the hive. And if the conditions are right, that condensation will condense and turn into rain essentially and rain back down on the bees. So wet bees are dead bees. And I've done a couple of things to try and reduce that condensation in the hive. The simplest one is to tilt your hives slightly forward when you're getting them ready for winter. If some water puddles on the roof, it'll slide forward and go down. The second thing I do is to add sugar to the top of the hive. Now I really like the dry sugar method, and we have a video about that. There should be a link up here and a link in the show notes about that. Literally newspaper with dry sugar on the top. That does a lot to absorb condensation and moisture. And then the other thing I do, you could do fondant by the way, or candy boards. The other thing I do is an insulated inner cover, which is these custom built covers that I made that have a space under here and a piece of insulation on the top and vent holes in the front. And you can link to there's a link to our site about some pictures about how I build these. But if you're not wanting to build these, I'm going to show you another way to insulate the top of the hive, okay? You want to get yourself some insulation. This is a green polystyrene that you can buy at the big home improvement stores. It comes in a 2-foot by 8-foot sheet. Maybe your neighbor has one. Or you could get a couple of thinner pieces and stack them together. If you want to glue these, use like it's called a polyurethane glue, like Gorilla Glue. Something like that would work really well. If you want it to be tight, this is going to go on the top of the hive and create an insulated layer so that the inner cover doesn't get cold. So watch, all right? So when you're getting ready for winter, the first thing I do is I put a wooden shim in. I built these out of just a 3/4 by 1.5 inch lumber. Just screwed the ends together. This offers a nice space to put in sugar cakes, fondant, or the dry sugar method, which I really like. Then we have our inner cover. Your inner cover is usually like this with the gap at the top. I'm going to flip this, all right? Invert your inner cover so they still have a hole here. You need to have a top entrance for ventilation and in case your lower entrance is snowed in. Then we put on the insulation and then your outer cover. I always strap my hives with a ratchet strap. You could put a big rock on here. Hives, I've heard of hive covers blowing up in winter, and that is a dead hive. So again, a nice spacer shim for sugar or fondant, an inverted inner cover with that facing forward. Do not close up that hole. Your insulation, I like a big thick piece like this, inner cover. But there you go. I just want to show you this neat way of using a piece of insulation with an inverted inner cover and a shim so you can have sugar down here to help get your bees through winter. We have a bunch of other beekeeping videos. There's a link down here and there should be a link, a little button thing up here as well. If you have any questions or comments, I'd like to hear from you guys in the show notes below. And if you like GardenFork, you could subscribe. We put out videos every week. It's DIY, cooking, gardening, homesteading, beekeeping. You know, that kind of whatever I do in the weekend, I make a video about it. Beekeeping is one of them. So go out and make a great day. I'll see you later.